Yeah. Welcome, Shani Culture. You know what I'm saying? He likes to be called Culture, to the
No,
Better
no.
Days Show podcast. What's good,
Poop,
Shani?
poop, 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 poop. What's up,
What's
brother?
good,
I'm
man?
cool. How you?
Yeah.
We here, man. We here. We here.
What year you started working at Hot 97, New York? Hot 97, New York.
Yeah, well, I've been at Hot 97 for about 15 years or so, maybe about '05, '04, something like that.
Oh,
Um, and it initially started with me being an artist. Like I said, I'm a creator
right,
first.
right,
You know, was what I, identify as a creator connected to the Almighty Creator.
right.
That's what we do. I
Mm-hmm.
can create life. Me and a woman create life. You understand? In its truest form. So, God essence all day. But outside of even being able to create a physical, living, breathing life, through God's gift within me, I create music and I create art and I create different ways of expression. And with that, I was making music in the underground for a while, and my goal was to get into the industry because I needed to figure out how to make money. Because one of the things my mother asked me to promise her that I was going to make money. Because I
Mm-hmm.
come from a musical family, make money at music. Because
Right.
the family was so musical, she always said, some of the most talented people are broke. There's a lot of starving artists, and that's mainly because um, when you're very creative, you don't like to think of the business side of things. You're
Yeah.
not making your creations for economic, growth all the time. You're making it because you're inspired by it,
Mm.
you know, and it's a gift. So she's like, if you're going to do it, figure out how to make money. Because as any parent, you want your child to be self-sufficient. On this planet, you got to be able to provide food, clothes, and shelter. So she's like, figure that part out. You got my blessing. So I went on a mission to figure out how to get in the industry, and I had music, and I figured either I want to try and get a job at a record label so that I could get a record deal, or at a radio station so I could get my records heard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
And
it's a blessing, man, because the route that I took is not always the way that the door opens for certain people. And I've seen a lot of people try to get my same road, but the road opened up for me, which is a blessing. And I guess it was just meant to be that way, you know.
right.
And a lot of it was because of my grind, my underground, being in the underground of New York City. It was because of what I was able to do and create platforms for myself in the underground, not just being an artist and waiting for people to put me on their shows, but I created shows.
Mm-hmm.
I went to locations and spoke to the management and said, I want to put a show together, and I was going to bring the crowd to me, you know, and create a show for people to see me. And I put together showcases with other people rocking, but really with the intentions of people seeing my music. So as I was hosting, I would also perform, you know.
Yeah.
Those platforms, allow my name to resonate, and certain people who were at the station ended up coming to my shows and was like, there's this dude who's in the underground who's doing a lot of stuff, who actually works on our street team. And that was the beginnings of me working my way up the ladder.
So yeah, Culture. What day is your show on Hot 97? Just for the people to know. I know.
Right. Well, right now I do the morning show on Hot 97, Ebro in the morning, Rosenberg, Laura Styles,
Mm.
Shani Culture, Cash One, DJ Juanito.
Okay.
I initially started out doing the overnights. When we were doing PNC, again, to get the exposure that I was looking for, I started out doing overnights. They
Okay.
put me on overnights. I had an overnight show.
Right.
And I was adding a lot of personality to it, but they kind of just wanted me to just introduce the songs and contests and stuff.
Mm.
And then I had a Saturday show every Saturday, which was prime time from 2 to 7, which was pretty dope because
Yeah.
everybody's out on Saturday. But I also talking a lot in between that. And for Saturday listeners, they just want you to be like, hey, that was Chris Brown. We got some tickets to this concert coming up soon. Coming up next, we're going to have this Jay-Z. Make sure you keep it locked.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about it. But I don't know. I like to give a little bit more than that. And the morning show allowed me to have real dialogue,
Mm-hmm.
more than just coming out of Chris Brown, giving away concert tickets and letting you know that Jay-Z's up next. The morning show, we talking about everything. We talking
Right.
about politics. We
Mm-hmm.
talking about Kanye West. We talking about Kamala Harris. We talking about regular people and problems. We talking about the riots in 2020. We calling out police officers,
Mm-hmm.
who's doing bad in the community. On the segments that they had me on my own shows, I didn't really have that luxury. I had it a little bit in the overnight, but again, that's a very limited crowd because a lot of people are asleep. You get the nocturnal people and you get the nighttime workers. But that daytime morning show, when people are in their car, we got 2.5 million listeners
Yeah.
every day. You know
Right.
what I mean? Of people commuting to work, and this is grown adults, business workers, bankers, like everybody, truck drivers that are tuned in,
Right.
and we're talking real talk and having long dialogue and calling out police and calling out systemic racism, and talking about real issues. So
Mm-hmm.
this gives me an opportunity to really like, all right, let's get into it
Yeah.
and add my piece. And we had a round table. Ebro was a very smart, intelligent, articulate dude, who's able to convey a lot of good points. Rosenberg has amazing strength as well. Laura Styles, and I'm able to be myself without being too political and just bring culture to the show and add my perspective as somebody who was a born and bred New Yorker who grew up here, who understands the people that are on the ground.
That's
Okay?
what's up.
So it's good chemistry, and we've been rocking for a long time, So tune in. People can tune in every morning, or you can check out the podcast. It's uploaded every day after the show, or check it out on YouTube.
For a kid that's
Mhm.
coming up within your position at Hot 97, like, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, if your goal is to really just be radio, um, the best thing that you can do, especially nowadays, which wasn't the situation 15 years ago per se,
Mm-hmm.
is to create your own platform.
Mm.
You have the internet. We're on a platform right now. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
There's so many different radio shows at this point, but because you have Facebook and YouTube and all of these things, start to generate an audience by creating, a space and building up your own followers. That will build up in people in the radio. You can use that as a resume piece to get other jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the things while I was inside the building that helped me grow when I started. And I realized that I started a show on PNC Radio. You was the DJ, bro.
Yeah.
It was you and me.
Right.
The Underground Culture. It was called the Underground Culture.
But you brought it to my attention, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? Let me know when. So why did you want to do a show so early on? Because it was like you were ahead of the game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To wanted to,
Yeah.
still be on Hot 97 and have your Underground Culture show.
We rocked it. You definitely had dope chemistry with the music.
Yeah.
We had topics. I created segments to the show.
Yeah.
Would go on Facebook and like put up questions for people, and then we would read the responses. So I try to make it like a real show.
Yeah.
And then you would rock out for like 20 minutes. I had special guests. I remember bringing on Brother Polite back in the day.
Yeah.
When somebody told me, yo, this brother got like 30 books and got 4 wives. I was like, what? Like, bring this brother on. So we had a lot of different interviews.
Yeah.
In rap groups.
Yeah.
I remember you bringing some artists to the table as well.
Were you always a solo artist, or we talking ubiquity with the with the group?
Yeah, planning ubiquity. I was always I kind of like groups. I've been both. I've been solo and I've been in groups. I was doing shows by myself.
Okay.
Coming out of a 2-man crew. When I first started rhyming, when I was like 11 years old, I was with my man on the block in Queens. We used to call ourselves the Crew too.
Okay.
Old school shit. So I always like that partnership because, I don't know, I feed off of people and like vibing with people. That energy gives me more energy. And and I was coming out of a different partnership and started doing shows in the city by myself, and I started drumming. And Planet Ubiquity is a circle of brothers where everybody was connected to the African djembe drum of West Africa, and this was my introduction into the West African kind of djembe world because they were already in it. And my sister was a dancer and connected to this dance crew. And I would come and watch my sister, and then the instructor was like, yo, you need to meet my son. You need to get on a drum. And her son was the violin player in Planet Ubiquity.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then there was another brother he introduced me to, which was my drummer, Sean Kelly. Fear None is the dude who was the drummer that she first introduced me to. And when I saw what they was doing, around the time I think Busta Rhymes' song was out. I forget what year it was. If You Really Want to Party With Me?
Yeah.
Yep. Which I had never seen somebody do that live on the drums. And they had the djembe drums, and they like, and they just get busy. And I'm watching that shit like, yo, that shit is fire. I will murder a show doing that beat live on a djembe. Nobody ain't never heard no shit like that. Mm-hmm. So I stepped to them and was like, yo, I do shows in the city. Would you be willing to come to the city with one of my shows and do that same Busta Rhymes beat? And I'll just jump on the mic and start killing it like that. So they agreed, and we did a show. Around that time was New Eureka Poets Cafe. You familiar?
Of course. Yeah, I performed there many times. Mm-hmm.
And you remember that used to be the spot.
That used to be the
back
spot.
In the day.
Yep.
So we did our first show there, and I bodied it because that audience would be receptive to that kind of energy, African drums and rapping over drums. It was, everybody was dreads and conscious in the Poets Cafe. So I went there and they hitting that, and I'm just spitting my shit. Yeah. And the marriage began right there with the group, because we saw the energy that we were able to have together and how people received it. So from there, we just continued to do shows. They introduced us to the other dude who played the guitar. And I didn't know the dude, Sean Kelly, who played drums. He was the main drummer. He also played trap drums. And the dude who played Fear None, who played the drums as well, he also played the violin. And the other dude who played the drums as well, he also played the guitar. And then they put in another dude who played the bass. So it was a band I didn't even know. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And the fly part of the band was that everybody was able to transform. So we opened up a lot of shows with African rhythms, and would transform to our main instruments. I would then transform to the mic. He would transform to the drum set. He would pick up a violin. He picks up the guitar, and then now we just start doing songs. So that made us unique, in the underground.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Planet Ubiquity was something else,
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I'll be DJing, and you guys will come on after. It's because Planet Ubiquity to me was like, the diversity of different styles that you guys, bring together. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's dope, and I love performing with those brothers. Like, we was able to bring something to the table for me that did something high for my spirit. It probably ignited my pineal gland before I even knew what the pineal gland was. If y'all not familiar, go research the pineal gland. It's basically your third eye, and it secretes a certain energy that wakens certain hormones within your body. But we hit certain frequencies in the music that it gave me a high that was immeasurable. So one of our things too, similar to what my mom said, we weren't that great at business. You know what I'm saying? But organically, talent-wise, we had something special. You know what I'm saying? And that's that whole creative process. We just could create something that was magical. So but collectively, it's sometimes hard to get everybody on the same page and to think the same way business-wise. So now some of the loopholes that we had to run through on the business side of that. But in terms of music, I think we had something that I've never seen. Well, I know we had something that I've never seen before up to now still.
And you for the summer jams, you host the
Well, I mean,
artists
I
for
don't.
that.
Yeah, I don't do that part anymore. We
Mm.
did the MC battles for about 10 years, and the winner would get like stuff like a little record deal, a single deal, a
Mm.
trip to Jamaica, other competitions and things of that
Mm.
nature. Um, but there's not really an underground piece to that stage anymore.
Okay.
So they have two stages. They have a larger stage and a smaller stage. And the smaller stage, which was initially used for my MC battle, the smaller stage was created
Mm-hmm.
because of my battles, like straight out the box. That festival stage that people know about, that was created specifically for my battle. Um, and now um, that has evolved into not underground artists, but artists who are not as big as the main stage.
Mm-hmm.
It's up and coming artists who are still on labels and are next to blow. Like I remember Childish Gambino,
Yeah.
Drake, Kendrick Lamar, like when these dudes was about to pop, but they wasn't big enough for the big stage yet, they would perform on that other stage, like
Right.
it was a festival. So to answer your question, there's not really a process of picking underground artists to perform at Summer Jam. It's just people who are already on and about to blow. They're just under the radar, or not as many people know about them.
How can people find culture, on social
Listen,
media?
well, full name is Shani Culture, Shani, and then Culture with a K. So you Google that. That's me on every platform: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I don't know what other platforms there are.
There's so
Anywhere
many.
that you can find me. Yeah, if you just Google Shani Culture, it'll bring you to every place that I'm at. Or even look up Culture Movement. Spell Culture with a K.
That's what's up.
You'll find me. Representing Caribbean tribe in general.
Mm-hmm.
But like I was saying, I belong to a few different tribes: the Conquering tribe or the Lion of Judah. So that's my tribe too. African, culture. That's my tribe off top.
That's what's up.
I try to represent my culture, because in the lightest form of a definition of what culture is a way of life, right? So it's the food you eat, it's the clothes you wear, it's the way we dance, it's the way we talk, it's our slang.
That's
All
what's
of
up.
that is a culture. There's even, let's say, if you wanted to talk about a skateboard culture,
Mm-hmm.
they wear certain baggy clothes, they have
Yeah,
certain
certain
slang
shoes.
that they have, certain shoes that they wear within that culture. You come in wearing this shoe, you're not going to blend.
Right.
Because all of them wearing this kind of platform sneaker, but that's their culture,
Right.
So, and they all eat, they all drink this one drink because it's cool to them or whatever, but that's their culture, so that culture being our way of life, within different sectors, those are the different tribes and cultures that I connect with, so I rep my Trini flag because that's how my bond and grow, the food that I ate, the music I heard, and the
Yeah.
hip hop culture. Hip hop is my tribe too.
Got to keep the culture moving forward.
You're done already. You know what I'm saying? Now everybody be yelling, do it for the culture, do it for the culture. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm popping out here. I played
Right.
culture a long
Right.
time.
Right.
It was calling me
Right.
culture since I was 10 years old. It was calling me culture.
That's
You
what's
know what
up.
I'm saying?
It's like every day now you go viral.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm like, oh, culture that became cool because when I was called culture, it wasn't necessarily cool. It was just a name,
Right.
maybe more cool in the Caribbean. But that's where they gave me the name because when I would go to Trinidad, they see I was still maintaining the culture. But when you come from the Caribbean, and I was born in New York, but when you visit the Caribbean, they call you a Yankee. It's a Yankee.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, but if you maintaining the culture, you still have some of the talks and the ism, and you eating the food the way everybody at home eating it. You tearing up the bus up and you're eating it like you ain't looking like no Yankee. You're not cutting it like, how do you eat this?
Right.
You're falling right in.
Mm-hmm.
You're falling right in. He got the culture. Yo, culture. I see you. Yo, you done already a Shani Culture on the Better Days Show podcast. You know what I'm saying? Culture movement things, runaway slave, underground culture, overground culture, but never that middle thing. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can play the middle. Catch me in the underground or the mountaintops. You see me on a Better Day Show, the podcast. You see it? Hot 97 and the whole squad. Pick up your tribe.